Thanks, everybody. Yeah, my name's John, and I have the privilege of working at a place up on 39th Avenue called Grace Marketplace. Is anybody here at all familiar with, let's start with homelessness. Is anybody here familiar with homelessness? Have you seen homeless people out on the street? Have you grown up thinking that seeing homeless people on the street is just a normal part of what we see as we go to work, as we go to school, as we go back and forth and start our day? I grew up that way, and I started working with folks directly on the street 20 years ago at this point. And we, for 15 years, had been doing the same thing. We'd be providing the same bowl of soup, the same blankets, the same pair of socks to the same people year in and year out. And we realized pretty quickly that that wasn't going to do anything to actually fix a problem in our community, that we weren't doing anything to end homelessness, that we were basically just managing it. We were moving people from one shelter to another. We were moving people from downtown someplace else. We were putting people in a hotel room for a couple nights, and we were never fixing the problem. We were just kind of confusing activity with progress. And I'm really, really proud to be a part of Grace, where we've actually stopped doing that and have really changed the model for how we deliver homeless services here in our community. So I want to, I guess, to give a relevant example. Imagine how fucking crazy it would be if you were going to the hospital and you're having a heart attack and you got there and you said, I really, really need this help. I'm in crisis. I don't know what else to do. You've got the people here who can help me. And they say, well, that's great. Go ahead and have a seat. There's a person over here who cut their finger earlier today. And this person, they broke their leg. And you got here after them. So why don't you just have a seat, and after we deal with this person with the broken finger or the cut finger and this person with the broken leg, then we'll start dealing with your heart attack. Or imagine if somebody showed up and they were having a heart attack and the doctor came out and they said, well, you know, sir, I see you're having a heart attack, but you came here 2 years ago and you were having a heart attack then, and we told you that, you know, you're a little bit overweight, you should probably lose 10, 15 pounds. So we're not going to help you this time because you didn't really listen to us last time. So we think you're just going to have another heart attack after this, so we're not going to treat you today. Or if we said, oh, you know, you broke your leg and so you're cursing and yelling at the doctors because you're in the middle of a crisis. And we said, you know, I'm going to need you to just calm down a little bit, and until you can stop cursing, we're not going to help you. That is how we were providing homeless services in Alachua County for the past 30 years. And it sounds really easy and really clear when it comes to a hospital, because everybody knows the person with a heart attack gets treated first. Everybody knows that, yeah, if you broke your leg, you're probably going to curse and scream. That if you are, you know, you've got something major going on that's interrupting your life, that's going to affect how you interact with the world and how you interact with the people who are trying to help you. But yet when we did that with homeless services, when we said, well, you've come here before. We housed you last year, and you lost that house. We're not going to help you anymore. Or you're in the middle of the worst fucking crisis of your life, and so you're cursing at me because you're not getting the help you need fast enough. If I were to say, you know what, until you can calm down just a little bit, I'm not going to be able to help you. That's what we were doing. So about 2 years ago, we opened up a place called Grace. It's up on 39th Avenue. We're out near the airport. We're a 115-bed emergency shelter. We are a one-stop resource assistance center. And we are basically a triage center for homelessness. You don't have to know anymore where you are going to go, what help you might need, who you're going to call over here, or where you're going to get a bus pass over here to get help with mental health over here, and then, you know, to hurry up to do that because you're going to miss lunch over here while you're doing it, and all while you're trying to solve all of those problems. Also try to figure out where you're going to use the bathroom, or where you're going to sleep tonight, or where you're going to eat, or how you're going to deal with any of those other things before you could even possibly start thinking about some of those higher level things that you might want to do to improve your life. So we've turned all of that around. We're using what's called a housing first approach, and it's basically this idea that we've stopped trying to fix people and then give them housing, and we've started putting people into housing, and then we start working with them to solve their problems, which it turns out, if you actually look at the data on it, is much, much easier. It's a whole lot easier to cut down on your drinking. It's a whole lot easier not to have a mental health crisis if you're in a place of your own versus staying in a shelter with 114 other people who are all also having their own crises. So we've started to turn this around, and for the past 2 years, we've really been able to make some great effort, some great change in Alachua County. We opened in May of 2014. We go out every year and we physically count the number of people on the street. We don't project, we don't extrapolate, we count all the way. We found in 2014, 1,700, right around 1,750 people, men, women, and children on the street on any given night in Alachua County. By the time we did that count again in 2016, that number had dropped to about 1,350. So we have seen a 20% drop in homelessness since we have opened. Chronic homelessness, which is really what I think a lot of people think about when they talk about homelessness, you really think about that guy with the shopping cart who's hanging out on the plaza. Or you think about that person at the bus stop who's kind of talking to themselves. The person with the most severe needs, the person who is going to be in and out of homelessness and going to be basically coming and going again and again. We've dropped the number of people who fit that definition of chronically homeless by 50%. And we've cut unsheltered homelessness by 40%. And that's just in the first 2 years. So we're pretty much a brand new program. We operate a lot like a startup. We keep looking at what we can do. We figure out how we can do it better. If we see something is working, we keep doing it. If we see something's not working quite as well as we want it to, we make that change, and then we try again. We measure it. We've got the metrics to show that it's working. And it's something that it's so simple. I mean, housing ends homelessness, but it's taken us 35 years to figure out that it's housing that ends homelessness and not necessarily life skills, not necessarily quitting drinking. This may blow your mind, but there are actually people in homes who are alcoholics. This may blow your mind, but there's actually people who have mental health problems who have no problem keeping themselves housed, and for the most part, they can maintain housing all along. So we've stopped trying to deal with that. We're the only shelter in town where you can show up drunk. If that's part of your problem, if that's part of the issue that you need addressed, we can help with that, and we no longer say, well, once you fix that problem, well, then come back and we'll help you fix your problem. You know, you don't go to the hospital and they don't tell you, well, can you come back when you're not sick and then we'll help you? Because that's what we were doing again. So we're a new program. If you haven't had a chance to check us out, please do. We have renovated an abandoned prison campus. So we've got a 25-acre campus up on 39th. We have 40,000 square feet of space that we're using. We're looking at new ways that we can build permanent affordable housing for people. We're always looking for ways that we can provide better services and provide them in a way that is respectful and meaningful and easy to access for people. If you have any questions, if you want to talk some more about it, please let me know. And thank you so much for the chance to be here. Appreciate it.